What's up, guys? BSJ bringing you another Grand Cross video. Honestly, this video was kind of brought on by me looking at the amount of characters in the game, because you know what, I didn't realize how many characters there actually was until one of my coworkers actually plays Grand Cross, and he showed me a second account, and the amount of characters that he does not have, and then it made me realize, why are there so many units in this goddamn game that people don't even use? It's insane. Like, there's so many units. Like, I have most of them, right? I have most of them. I'm missing a few. I'm gonna get this Halloween Diane from the free banner that we have right now. I'm going to probably pull this Merlin sometime. Can't get this this Gilthunder. Can't get this Hellbrum. I don't really care about Slater or this Elaine or this Ozone Hawk. I do want this Malaska, but look, I'm missing a few units, right? And then these are the amount of units I don't even use most of these units. And I know damn well you guys don't either. So I'm like, why are there so many units in this game that people just don't use? And why are there so many units that people have to build up to get their account CC, and then they have to build up to get this shit? The growth points. It's so stupid. It's actually so dumb. But anyway, this video is just gonna be me going over like characters, not in detail, but characters that will be good for people who are just like starting the game, or you know, are interested in playing the game, and units that I think will be essential for you to build up, and probably, you know, you'll use for a little bit until you get better characters, etc, etc. So I don't really know how to start this off, but I guess we'll just start off at the top, because I have my characters organized. You can tell by like character and stuff like that, by the amount of characters they have, whatever you want to say. But we'll start off with Melly. So Meliodas. So there's a lot of Meliodas. There's 10, which is crazy because it feels like Meliodas doesn't get too many units, but yes, 10, which is insane. So yeah, Meliodas, right? Obviously, out of all these Meliodases, if you're just starting, Darkness Melly is the best. There's no ands, ifs, or buts. Darkness Melly is the best. But if you're literally just starting, or you know, you started a couple weeks ago, I don't know, right? You don't have Darkness Melly, then this Meliodas, Lost Vein, this Lost Vein Meliodas are probably your best bet. Maybe Counter Melly, but those 4 or 5 right there are really good to start off with. Chances are, if you just started, you don't have Lost Vein, right? Which is it is what it is. But you definitely can pull this blue Lost Vein. But again, if you just started, the chances of you getting these 3 are the highest. It is what it is. But if you have Darkness Melly, you know, you started when he came out, you got to work on him. You just have to work on him. Assault Melly he's solid. He's solid. I don't really think I'd give him anything else other than solid though, but he's definitely solid. He sucks. You definitely suck. You are the worst Meliodas in the game. You definitely are the worst Meliodas in the game. But yeah, so out of all these Meliodases, 1, 2, 3, he's number 1, but again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are worth working on. Assault mode, if you're really gonna get the demon team up, if you really want to for Assault Melly, you definitely can, but I mean, he's not, you know, he's not priority anymore. He's just not. Let's move on. Diane. So there's 9 Dianes in the game. It's funny. There's 9 Dianes in the game. Out of all the 9 Dianes, the only ones even worth like probably touching is this one, and if you have her because you just started, Festival Diane, right? So these 3, legitimately these 3. Maybe you could say these 2 for Lynx, maybe, but I mean, sure, but these 3 are your priorities for the Dianes. Like, these 3 are your priorities for the Dianes. This Diane can help you in the Big Bird, at least beating floor 1, right? At least, You could be floor 1. You could do it even with floor 2. This DN's she's like niche. There's not a lot of buff units anymore. Like, you could still use her against Darkness melee for sure, but I mean, there's not too many buff units. You can still use her. She's like niche. She's okay. Obviously it's a very good unit, very good, one of the top tier units in the game, this DN. So these 3 you want to prioritize. The rest are kind of fodder. I'm not even gonna lie, like they're kind of fodder. You don't really need to work on them too much. Chances are you don't even have this wedding DN. You might have pulled her from the banner, maybe you might have, right? So you could probably have her, but yeah, these you don't really need these. I can't even really think of what they would be useful for anyway. Maybe training cave, but you don't. Yeah, all right. Bonds. Okay. The bonds. So you just started. Blue Bond's good. He's definitely good for the red demon. But there's a lot of options you could use him. But hey, if you just started, you could definitely use him. You could use him as well. Green Baller Bond sucks. You suck. You suck. You suck. Purgatory Bond's good. Purgatory Bond's one of the best units in the game. So, what was that? 3 bonds? 3 bonds. That's crazy. That is actually crazy. This king could be useful for Grey Demon if you're farming mats. You're good free to play. You get him at the start, so you're good free to play. You can use him for stuff. All these fat kings suck. Festival, obviously, Full Grown Wings King is a god, right? A literal god. Number 1 or number 2. He's probably number 2 best unit in the game, but number 2 best unit in the game. So yeah, Small Wings King, he's okay for Super Awakening farming, but otherwise you're not using him. These Gothers, Green Gother obviously, and Red Gother. Festival Gother can be solid, but these 2, no. Merlins, I don't think so. None of the Merlins actually are that good, besides Summer Merlin, which you probably don't have if you just started. But if you have her, she's definitely a very, very good option. Merlin, Lolly Merlin's a very good option if you have her as well. The Guild Thunders, these 2 for like sub units, but that's about it. You're not really gonna use them any other time. Red Guild Thunder, you're not even gonna touch. None of the Gilas. I don't care what anyone says, and then none of the Gilas. Housers, you could use Red Hauser for farming, but that's it. These, no, like these 2 suck. The Greymoor suck. Jericho, Green Jericho is good for Belmoth. So if you're planning on doing Belmoth, you build her up. I would actually say she's a really good unit that you should build up for that raid. Will she take priority? Maybe, if you really want to go to level 90 and stuff, maybe. But again, if you're just starting, I would assume you're not just gonna jump into endgame content, so you could wait a little bit before building her up, but you definitely want to eventually do that because she's a very good unit for that. These 4, I mean, Blue Jericho can be good as a sub for the Red Demon, right? When you go to farm mats, she could be good for a sub unit, so maybe you want to build her up, I guess. Red Jericho, I can't really think of what she's useful for, but she also has a really good attack related stats buff on a sub slot. These 2, they're niche, wouldn't really recommend, but I mean, you probably don't have them anyway. The Hellbrum suck, but this green Hellbrum can be useful for... He can be useful for Belmoth. It's been a minute since I actually did a Belmoth raid, but he is solid in there. He is actually pretty solid. You can look up guides and, you know, see his team comp. Red Hellbrum, he's aged. He's just aged. None really else to say about that. I don't think you really have to worry about any of these rares. Just starting off, you don't. Yeah, I wouldn't really say these rares are worth anything, to be honest with you. I mean, Twigo's good for Bond's team. Like, if you're playing PvP, Twigo's good for Bond, right? If you want to build a PvP team, sure. Maybe I should make a different video going over. Maybe I'll do that. But yeah, I don't really see otherwise any of these R's that are really worth building. No, Slater can be good for Red Demon. This blue Slater right here can have some worth there. No. No. Yeah, you see what I mean? Like, these units, there's so many of them that you're never gonna use. It's crazy. But none of these, I would say, like, you need to use, like, I would say you wouldn't really need to use some of these as, you know, a beginner if you just started, because they're not really all that, right? They're not really all that crazy. You could maybe use them for story mode if you need to use like a Hendrickson eventually, but that's about it. Dreyfuses suck. The Elizabeths, I'm gonna be honest, the green one can be useful for the big bird, but none of these other Elizabeths besides Goddess Elizabeth really strike me as that important. You could maybe run the SR Elizabeth and Hulk as a float, like not a floater, but a fourth sub slot unit maybe, but none of these are, you shouldn't build her up at all. But yeah, none of these are really striking me as characters you really need. This green one is good, she's solid, and then this Elizabeth is also, she's toxic, which is, but she's effective, you know. So Taizo, no. The Elaine's no, but you can actually, this red one, you can keep her at level 60. And then you could just run her in Hallex as a sub slot unit, because she is very important for that. So you can leave her at level 60, but if you have her, I don't know if you will if you just started, but once you get her, you know, she's very good for Hallex on the back, sure. These Arthurs, Green Arthur and Excalibur Arthur, well, actually these three, yeah, these three are pretty good. I would say prioritize maybe this Arthur first, and then the green one, and then maybe Excalibur. Again, unless you're really heavy on PvP, then this Excalibur Arthur first, and then this Arthur second, and then maybe this one last. But the reason I say this one first is because he can be helpful in Hallex as well. You know, getting the Crimson Horns that you need for Limit Break. So that's why I say him before the Green Arthur, but the Green Arthur is better. In my opinion, for PvE, he is better. It just in my opinion. No, Matrona, yes, Matrona is essential. So if you have this Halloween Matrona, you definitely should pick Halloween Matrona from the free banner. Once you get her, yes, she is very essential for the big bird. And the Antler Demon. She's very good for the demonic beast battles. Let's keep going. Again, we just get to a rut where there's just not that many useful characters. She's good, but for PvP, I mean, she's not really even that good for PvP, but she's all right. Christmas Lily, of course. Green Escanor, I would say, actually, yeah, you could build up, because he can definitely get you through a couple of this, you know, the story mode missions or whatever you need to do. He can definitely get you through a couple of things. So Green Escanor, I would actually say yes. Red Escanor, nah, not so much. The one, if you have him, of course, build him up. None of the Gallons, none of these Melaskas, none of these Monspeets, no, none of the Gloxinias. Drolls, actually, the Drolls, I would say maybe the blue before the green, but the Drolls are iffy. You could if you want to, but you don't have to. None of the Fraudrins, you don't want to build him up anyway. Derriere, red Derriere you build. Yes, you definitely want to prioritize red Derriere if you're a beginner, because she's very, very essential for the Crimson Demon. Again, one of the main units. Green Derriere as well for Belmoth. It's funny how these Derrieres both used for raids that you, it's funny. But yes, Green Derriere as well, actually, yeah. So you want to prioritize these two for sure. Blue, if you have her, I guess you can, but not really. You don't have to. Green Green Estarossa, yes. Green Estarossa is, actually, I read a comment on one of my posts. He is one of the best aging old units, I would actually say. I think I underestimated, and you know, I kind of downgraded his worth a little bit, but he is actually one of the better aging units in the game, I would actually say. So yes, Green Estarossa, you should. Blue Zeldris, hell no. Red Zeldris, you can. Green Zeldris, yes. Let's keep going. Death Pierce for sub slot, you can if you really want to. No. Although Delgado, however you pronounce his name, Delgado, he can be good because of this, right? This is actually pretty solid. Increases strength attribute allies defense related stats by 30%. That is actually good. Like that is, I'm not gonna lie, that is actually pretty good. You know, for strength units, that's really good. I want to see something real quick. Did I mess up with Guild Thunder? Green Guild Thunder, is it only for green units? No, okay, it's allies. Okay, I don't know why I thought it was only unions. Okay, Dogeta would he be better? Maybe if he had the same thing as Guild Thunder, but it is what it is. I feel like honestly this should have probably just been 50% since it's type restricted. But that's a video. That's a topic for another video. You don't need him. You don't need her. You don't need him. None of the Valentis are that great. Mark II Valenti's 9. Yeah, I'm trying to think about content. Now, I'm not trying to think about PvP. I'm trying to think about content. Blue Easton is good for the Red Demon as well. If you have her, you can build her up because she's a good support. Shin's good for farming. Green Shin is good for farming. She's good for Guild Boss. So if you want to, yes. Yeah, see, this is the thing about making these beginner friendly guys, because there's so many units and it's like going over them, like just breezing over them doesn't do justice. But if I sat here and did every single individual unit, it would be over, like, I'm not even kidding, it would probably be over like an hour. It'd be like an hour and 30 minutes because there's so many units in the game, man. There's just so many that you're never gonna use or touch probably. Like if you're a casual player, just like, be real, you're a casual player, you don't play it seriously. When the fuck are you gonna use Jenna? You're never touching this unit. Maybe, I don't even have her passive, that's crazy. Maybe if you get her costume, because she can give you cosmetic, like, material. But like, you're never gonna use her. She's like one of the worst units in the game, right? You're never gonna use a unit, ever. It's like, you're really never gonna touch Camilla, to be honest with you, right? Casual player, again, you're a casual player, you just started, you're just beginning, you're never gonna touch her, you don't need to use her, you're never gonna use Deldry, you don't need to use Deldry. You're not using Denzel. I'm not even gonna get into it with Denzel, but you're not gonna use Denzel. Like, you're not using half of these characters. So that's where it starts getting a little tough talking about all these units, right? Because you're not using half of them. It's crazy. Like, I could sit here and go through every individual unit, of course, but who cares? Like, literally, who cares if you're not even gonna touch like literally 80% of the units in the game? You're probably, maybe you'll use once for a specific mode, but that's it, man. So we keep going down the list. Zarathos is good for Belmoth. You should work on him for sure. But the Attack on Titan units, no. Ludociel, not really. Margaret, of course, because she's a festival unit. Giarde, no. Tarmiel, yes, because he's a really good tank, really good for PvP. Desario, probably not, to be honest with you. His grace is amazing, but you're not really gonna use him. This Red Sario, yes, he's a really good PvE unit. Then you get here, no, not really, no. Kyo, yes. Nanashi, not really. You can if you want to. He's not bad, but I mean, he's not really that useful. You want me to be completely honest with you. Liz, yes, Liz is really good for raids. She is actually pretty useful for the raids, Belmoth and the Grey Demon. So yes, you do want to build her up if you're planning to do mat farming. 11, she's good too for the Red Demon, and she can be useful in some areas, I guess. But again, you're not gonna, like, if you just started, you don't have these units. So I don't even know why I'm going over them. Like, you don't have the Stranger Things units. You just don't. You don't have the Ray Zero collab units. You probably don't have. Maybe you have the KOF units. Maybe you have KOF units, but you definitely don't have the Attack on Titan units. You don't have them. Right. So then we get down here. It's like Chandler's good, but he's pretty much, nah, he is good. Yeah, you should have, if you have Chandler, you should work on him because his full counter is better than Esterosis for sure. But then like Sigurd, you can use him if you want for PvP, but PvE, not really. Thonar, I don't know, she could just be left at level 60. You know, Yellow Star Awakened. She's not useful in any means besides her passive, and her passive is good for Belmoth, and that's it. But that's literally it. Cusack, not really. Brunhild, yes, for the big bird. If you have Terry, yeah. I already know. Magelda, yes. Magelda is an absolute yes. And then Scotty, like, to be honest, no. She's useful, but no. To be honest, this is what I'm saying. So if you're a beginner, you're looking at all these units that you probably don't even have filled in, by the way, and you're looking at them like, who the hell do I use? Well, I mean, I try my best, but it's really hard. Like, it is honestly really hard to kind of just go through it really quick and tell you, because there's like some units are good somewhere and then others aren't. Like that's why I don't really like making videos. Like if this were at the start of the game, then it'd be easy as hell, but we have over like 180 something units or something like that, right? Like it's insane. Like it's actually crazy. But I mean, I guess let me know if this helped you down below in the comments. I mean, again, if there's like a specific unit that you want me to go in depth about, let me know and I'll try and do it. But you know, breezing over all of these units, it just takes so much time. It really does, and it is what it is. But again, let me know if you guys found this video helpful in any way, shape, or form. Leave a thumbs up, subscribe, and that's gonna be it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you later.